It's time to begin writing your book. You've thought about it for a long time, and now you're going to engage in the actual sitting down and putting fingers to keyboards to get it written out. Writing your book provides an experience that you will never forget. In this episode of Your Path to Book Publishing, I'm going to talk about my experience in writing my book in real time. And I'm already looking back and reflecting on what I can learn. And I want to share that with you today. I'm going to go over what I've been learning from the actual writing of the book, what I'm learning from the beta readers in real time, and what I would already start doing differently on my next book. Writing your book is an incredible opportunity to learn about yourself, but doing it with some guidance will help you. I'm excited to share mine. This is Your Path to Publish. I'm your host, Zach Christensen. For the past decade, our team has guided authors just like you to find the best path to publish your book, get people excited to buy it even before it launches, and to turn it into the ultimate business card to build your business and your legacy. If you are ready to get your book out of your head and into people's hands, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. For any new listeners out there, I have been in the book industry since 2011 and have consulted and worked with many authors on their books and worked with many ghostwriters as we collaborate on helping an author get their idea from their head out onto the paper or the digital paper, so that they can share their expertise, their ideas, their insights with their target audience. And I've learned that participating in something from a high level to going down into the details of actually doing something provides you with totally different experiences. This first book that I'm going to be completing isn't the first one I've tried writing. There's other books I've sat down and wanted to write and worked on and started, but they just didn't really stick. And as I've gone through this writing process into an idea that's very compelling for me, very relevant for what I want to do and accomplish, I've learned a lot of different things. So I'm going to go over and give you my thoughts and experiences of exactly what I've been learning from the actual writing of the book, what I've learned and experienced with beta readers in real time, as well as what I would already start doing differently if I could go back 6 months ago, a year, and tell myself, hey, you're going to want to approach this way. Jumping into from the actual writing, one of the things that I'm so glad I did up front was the outline. I spent a good amount of time getting the book outlined, going through, reworking the outline, and figuring out where do I want the journey of the reader to go. And as I was going through this, I was very optimistic in this part of the process because I did have a pretty clear idea of what I wanted to share from my experience in working with authors over the years. I started to realize I was operating in a silo. And this happens with many authors. You tend to operate by yourself. And that's what I've been starting to learn with the actual writing is I was craving some feedback. So I started reaching out and getting feedback from people when I was about halfway through writing the book. That helped me to better know how I should focus and getting clearer and clearer on my audience and how I could speak to them and work with them throughout the book when I'm not physically there with them. In the actual writing process, I've learned some valuable lessons that helped me to keep going. There were days where I didn't want to write. So in that process, I learned about myself. I learned one thing very clearly is I like short writing sprints. I like to write every day in the morning, anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour and a half. And that's about when I meet my limit and need to take a break or switch and focus on something else. For you as authors, pay attention to how you're writing. What's your experience in writing? Where do you stop? Where do you get stuck? And what are you doing to reflect on that and to learn from it? I also learned about the difference between dictating your book from speech to text versus writing your book. The first half of the book I wrote entirely, you could say old school, just typing away with the outline, researching things, but all the words were purely mine by typing. I decided to switch to see if I could speed up the process in going from a speech to text mode. I would just dictate what I was thinking based on the outline that I had done in the chapter that I was in. What I learned from that experience is I could about double the amount of words, sometimes triple the amount of words I could get out with dictating the book. And it started to feel a little bit more like my voice. Now, I expected this and it was confirmed, but it takes longer to edit when you're dictating. It probably took me about twice as long to edit what I had dictated because there were so many different filler words. There was pauses, there was repetition throughout the chapter, and things that just when you're kind of dumping out what you're thinking and saying, there's not a lot of time to check. Now that just has different trade-offs, because one of the things that I've learned from many ghostwriters and others is you want to get the first draft out as fast as possible. And if you take a year to get your first draft out, even if you type the whole thing, you'll realize there's still a lot more work on editing to do. And getting something out from our minds onto paper will make the editing process a lot easier than you would anticipate, and it shortens the timeline. And to dovetail off of that, getting the first draft out was easier than editing is right now. Going through and editing, especially with feedback from beta readers, takes a long time. And I'm noticing things that I've either repeated in chapters or I've noticed where I want to bring in a story, where I need to shorten things, and where I'm way too redundant. And the editing is taking longer than I'm anticipating. It's a good thing because the book is becoming better, but it takes longer than I initially expected. I've been enjoying the process. It's been rewarding. There's been times it's been frustrating, and there's times where I felt absolutely stuck. Another learning I want to share from you in that process is to think about movement. If you're sitting for a long period of time writing and you're feeling stuck, get up and move. My favorite was to take at least a 10 to 15 minute walk around the neighborhood. I was still focusing at times on what I was working on, and other times I just kind of let my mind wander to other things. And I found it helpful to actually talk verbally through things. I wondered if any of my neighbors ever peeked out and may have looked like I was talking to myself. But I was really trying to articulate what I was thinking through, what I was doing, and the movement, being in a different environment, really helped me to clarify. And I had many moments of insight where I was able to take what I was doing in that moment, walk back home quickly, sit down, and put out exactly what I wanted to put in for the book. What I've been learning from the actual writing is that getting your first draft out was super helpful. Dictating your parts of your book with speech to text takes additional editing time. Movement is key. This is rewarding. And doing something and engaging in something is a lot different experience than when you've just talked about it or learned about it in the process. Next, let's talk about beta readers. So my approach with beta readers was to create a Google Doc, limit it to comments only, and then share it with those who were interested in being a beta reader, which I had been asking for volunteers for probably about a month and a half by the time I had something to send out to the beta readers. Beta readers are a must for any author, I would suggest, because you're going to see things that you didn't see before. You're going to have blind spots identified to you, and you're going to understand how you can make your book better. So here's some specific things that beta readers have been helping me with as I've been reviewing their feedback in real time. For me personally, I've learned I need to be more concise. I need to be more authoritative. A book is an authority piece, and I want people to recognize that I can help them publish their nonfiction, business, and self-help books. People who read your book want to trust you. They want to understand that if they invest the time with reading your book and engaging with you, that they're going to be able to take what you're teaching them, apply it, and achieve results. And that's what I hope to do. The beta reader feedback is a little mixed. And so there's going to be some tough decisions that I'm going to need to make of who am I going to listen to? Am I going to listen to any of them? Or what am I going to change with their suggestions? And it's tough because there's some paragraphs that I loved, honestly, and I've completely deleted. Now, I put it in another document so I don't lose it, but I've had to delete it, and it does make it better. So here's a recap of what I've been learning and that you can take for you as an author. Being more concise, being more authoritative to build that trust with my readers, hooking them in. I want to be able to hook them in and keep their attention throughout the book. Beta readers just makes it better. Whether or not I implement all the feedback, it's going to make it better, and it makes me a better author and writer. Now, for the final key area of learnings, centers around what I would do differently if I could go back and tell myself to do this differently, or in the future when I work on a book, what am I going to do differently with the approach of writing a book? The first thing is remember who I am writing for. I'm writing the book for me, but I'm also primarily writing it for my readers. There's things I put in there that are for me that I will end up removing or deleting because it's not really servicing the reader. I want them to be able to finish the book and get value out of the book. The next piece to learn from is I would go back and bring in a lot more people on the outline and structure and idea of the book. I've been able to have good feedback, but I would want more. I want to make sure that I'm delivering what people expect and they get excited even about the outline and knowing what I'm going to cover. Probably the most important one that I've been learning is I need to add more stories. Having facts and figures support what you're trying to say, but stories and examples are what people will remember, and that's what makes a book word of mouth marketable. And as I'm going through the book now, I'm thinking about where can I insert a story that would support the point I'm trying to make and make it more memorable. To recap, what I would do different is remember who I'm writing for, bring in more stories, double check the outline and structure with more people. By doing those things, it helps confirm that I'm serving and adding value to what my target audience and ideal readers really want. Writing your own book is a memorable experience, and I am enjoying it. It's tedious at times, and I want to get done, but I also want to produce a book that people will love and that they'll enjoy and that they're going to tell somebody else about. It may take you more than a few months to get it done, and that's okay. You may have a fast-tracked way to do it, and that's okay too. Just step back and reflect on what do I need to do to keep the momentum going and building with writing my book. And pause periodically and reflect on what you can do better, what you can shift, and what you can put on a future lessons learned list when you start your next book. Thank you for listening for your path to book publishing today. If this episode was helpful, please share it with a fellow author and let them know what you learned from this episode. In next week's episode, we're going to be talking about traditional publishing and specifically around an advance, what it is, what is considered a good advance, and how it works. Many authors who want to traditionally publish versus self-publishing or hybrid publishing need to understand these differences and what it really means to get an advance on your book. Thank you for listening for your path to book publishing. Keep writing, keep marketing, keep building your brand so that you can go out and achieve the dream that you've always wanted.